Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another bag review for you all, and I'm trying to get myself back into the routine of doing handbag reviews because I have got so many that still need reviews and lots of you keep asking for them. So today I'm getting back to it and I am going to give you guys a review of my Louis Vuitton Croissant GM. Right, so this is one of my many second-hand but grand purchases. I bought this one second-hand off Vestiaire. I think somewhere in between 1.5 and 2 years ago. I can't quite remember. I'd say it's airing closer to 2 years. And I paid 460-ish pounds for this. It was a little while ago, so I can't quite remember. And this is the GM model, as I referenced earlier. So the Croissant is no longer made and sold in Louis Vuitton stores. However, obviously you can still buy them pre-loved on sites like Vestiaire. This is the GM model, which basically means the grand model, which is the largest of all 3 sizes. Now I have had a look inside because all Louis Vuitton bags do come with a date stamp inside. I say all, I think that's actually only going back as far as the 80s. Any bags before the 80s I don't believe have the date stamp. But inside here there's a little pocket and that is where my stamp is. My stamp reads CA1022. Now there are lots of websites where if you have a Louis Vuitton bag and you're unsure of the age, if perhaps you bought it secondhand, you can check how old your bag is, which is what I did with mine. So it's really easy, just Google Louis Vuitton date stamp translator or date stamp data, something along those lines, and it will bring up a website. There's lots of websites. There's also a few websites that will explain how the date stamp works. So my date stamp indicates that this bag was made in December 2002 in their Spanish factory, and it does indeed say Louis Vuitton made in Spain on the label inside as well. So that means that this bag is now 18 years old. It doesn't quite qualify as vintage yet. Apparently vintage needs to be 20 years plus in order to be vintage. So 18 years old, and I would say it is still in really good condition. It has still got a lifetime's worth of wear left in it. Now this is my only Louis Vuitton handbag in my entire bag collection. There's no specific reason for that, it's just the only one that I have got round to buying. I would eventually like a Neverfull at some point, but it's not top priority on my list at the moment. Now, as with all my bag reviews, I'm going to go through the pros and the cons. Admittedly, this one has a lot more pros than it does cons. I had to be really nitpicky when writing down my cons. So I'm going to start off with the hefty list of pros. Okay, pro number 1 is, as you can very well see, this is the classic Louis Vuitton monogram canvas. Now to touch, some people might feel that this could potentially be leather. It is not leather. It is, as the name would suggest, canvas. So it's cotton canvas and it is coated, but it is backed with leather, which I'm going to get onto in a minute because that's another pro in itself. But the fact that it's coated canvas means that it's actually more durable, it is more water resistant, and therefore it wears a lot better than leather. The trim, however, so this little piping detail here, and the handle and a couple of like labels inside, those are all leather. As you would have seen if you've been in a Louis Vuitton store or seen one of the new bags, like fresh new as in new, not like new design. But the leather does start off to be a very sort of pale beige colour, and then as it oxidizes it turns this beautiful shade of tan, which is actually why I chose to buy my first Louis Vuitton secondhand, because I actually prefer this tan colour, so I couldn't be bothered to wear and tear the bag myself so that the leather oxidizes. Now, the fact that the canvas is backed with leather is what gives the bag its structure. So it's what keeps it in its shape. Now, I do actually have a couple of dust bags in here just because I do pad out my bags, mainly so that they keep their shape when they're not being worn. But there's now absolutely nothing in there, nothing at all. And as you can see, the bag still maintains its croissant shape. So it still maintains that structure. So even if you only pop a couple of things in here and then you want to throw it on, it doesn't lose that nice shape. Another pro is that it has a zip closure, which for a bag of this size, I think is great for security purposes, especially if you live in a city or you were going to take it on perhaps a city break or something. It is a lot more secure than having something like an open tote. However, the zip itself, look at that, it doesn't stick, it's super fluid. I mean, this bag is 18 years old and the zip still works like that. Now, I know I'm saying that as a pro, which it is, but for bags that cost the value of these bags when they're new, yes, the zips should always be fluid. The zip should last 1,000,000 years for the price of these bags. And some of you guys might remember that I did, I think it was a best and worst like bags video, I think, a couple of years ago. It could have even been 3 years ago. And there was a Givenchy bag, it was an Antigona, and that had a zip closure on the top. And one of my downsides to that is that the zip was really harsh. So every time you reached inside the bag, again, because it was quite structured like this, so the opening wouldn't just sort of like gape open, if that makes sense. So every time I put my hand in the bag, the zip scratched all my hand because it was really jagged, I suppose would be the word. This zip is not. It's quite a small tooth zip, but I can literally stick my hand in and out of that small closing and not have any zip damage to my hand. So that for me is another pro. It has an adjustable strap, which I am always gonna say is a pro, because I just think when things are adjustable, that means that you have options. Now the pro with this adjustable strap, obviously it is a shoulder bag, but for me personally, I like to adjust the strap with the seasons. So at the moment it's summer, I'll be wearing obviously lighter clothes, could potentially just be wearing this over a vest or a t-shirt, in which case there's nothing to kind of bulk out any of this area. However, when we get into winter and I have thicker coats, I might want to extend the strap just so that I have a little bit of leeway, if you like, under this kind of area, so it doesn't feel like I'm just all sort of bunched up together. Also, we're not all the same size, so petite, tall, whatever body type you have, you're going to find an adjustment level on here which suits you just right. Now, the style of the bag for me is also a pro, because I just think it's really classic and it's wearable. Obviously, it is the iconic Louis Vuitton monogram canvas, which is what Louis Vuitton is known for. This might be a con to some of you if you don't like this particular style, but for me, I wanted at least one bag in this colorway and style. Mainly because these neutrals very much fit in with my wardrobe, and also it's just very iconic, it doesn't date, and they are still bringing out bags in this classic monogram, so it's still very much a thing. Right, now whenever I get a new handbag, lots of you guys always ask me about the weight. This bag is very lightweight, probably because it is the cotton canvas and just backed with the leather, so there's none of that thick, heavy leather to weigh the bag down like I might have with some of my other bags. So that for me is a pro, because then you can just stuff it full of whatever you like. So what can I fit in this bag is the question. Well, I don't tend to carry around a lot of stuff with me on a daily basis. It would usually be things like card holder, keys, phone, potentially a camera, all of which fit nicely in the bag. The only thing I would say, if you wanted to use this as a work bag, you're not going to fit a full-size laptop in here. An iPad, yes, but a laptop, no. Another pro is the interior pockets, which sometimes I can either take or leave. However, when it's a bag like this, which is relatively deep, I just find that if I need something for quick, easy access, like my Oyster card or something, or my phone even, if I wear it this way, so with the buckle at the back, and I unzip the bag, that means that I can quickly dip in to the pockets, which are literally just on this side of me. So that for me is just an easy access thing, which I think is always a little benefit. Now my final pro is price. So as I mentioned, I paid £460 for this, and it's still got so much wear left in it. Because it is a bag that is no longer made by Louis Vuitton, you're never going to have to pay full price for it. So you're always going to get it at a second-hand price, and these can be picked up very reasonably on second-hand sites like Vestiaire. So I have seen some going for under £400, which I think for a bag of this quality is very reasonable indeed. Right, now I'm going to move to the cons, which, as I mentioned earlier, I've had to be really nitpicky because it's difficult to bring up any negatives about this bag that you couldn't see before buying it. Most of them are going to be along that line. So the first one is that it is just a shoulder bag. Even if you take the strap, the shoulder strap, to the lowest adjustment level, it is still only a shoulder bag. You're never going to be able to crossbody this or lengthen the strap so that you could potentially wear it as a satchel. But again, that's something you can very clearly see before you even purchase this bag. You know that it is just a shoulder bag. Right, my second con is a little bit of a design flaw, but I feel like this is going to be something that's specific to the individual. So I don't have very broad shoulders. I have really like bony little shoulders. And for me, the width of the strap, whilst really good because it's comfortable, unfortunately, because it is so wide, I find that it's one of those bags that slips off a lot. Unless I clamp it with my arm, it is one of those bags that I either have to hold or clamp really tightly. Otherwise, if I'm we often find this when we're doing photos, if I've got my hand in my pocket or something, it will slide off. And my final con, which I've kind of already touched on, is that you can't fit a laptop in there. So if you wanted this as a work bag, or potentially if I use this as a travel bag, it means that we have to use our camera bag to put the laptop in if we're taking the laptop, which most of the time we do. So that would be my only con in terms of size. And again, this is the largest size, so you can't get any bigger than this. If you wanted a bag that you can fit a laptop in, then your best bet is probably the Louis Vuitton Neverfull. However, you don't have the zip closure on that one, so that's just one of those things that you kind of have to assess for yourself. And there you have it. There is my full review, pros and cons, of the Louis Vuitton Croissant GM. If you have any more questions, anything that I haven't covered, or any just general little queries that you would like to ask, please do leave them down in the comment section below. If you have any more bag review requests, it's a bit of a tongue twister, then leave those down in the comments below as well, and I'll try and work through those in order of popularity of your comments, if you like. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!